Hello everyone, this is EC the Gamer and we are back with the final thoughts slash review of 13 Sentinels Aegis Rim. Wow, it's been an amazing journey with this game. The previous videos I did the analysis video, I pretty much tried to understand the story of the game, like the final details. And the next one was the destruction that I show you a bit more of the area, the sector 4 that suddenly appear at the end of the game. It seemed to be like something like an infinite loop. Essentially, it's just fighting constantly. So I did like 2 or 3 missions, and that was it. And then I also show you the timeline. The events to clarify not only to you but myself about the story. So I wanted to do that before I do this review and give this final thoughts because I just wanted to get that separate. So what I'm going to do in this video is I'm going to, by the beginning I'm going to spoil a bit of the story. I mean, I can try to be very vague about the story, but I don't know. Already people should have played this game already. But I'm going to do like a spoiler warning, so yeah, so be warned from this moment on, and I'll put it on the description or even in the video where I start the bit of the review of it starts. I said this in all my other final thoughts, and when I do this type of videos, this is just my opinion, so don't take it like, don't take it like it's something personal, like this is my opinion. When I give my review, a lot of my games get good scores because I just enjoy the games. I look for entertainment, not like very nitpicking, but I do try to do that. So yeah, let's go with a bit of the ending. I already talked about this in the analysis video, so I'm not going to talk even more about like more in depth, but yeah, the ending of the game was just a truly amazing thing. I was shocked because I thought that the game was going to have a bit of a bittersweet or sad ending, maybe a tragic one, I don't know, but they just did it. They gave us a happy ending. At the end, most of the characters, they were essentially alive. Yeah, they were alive. And we're talking everyone, like pretty much everyone that we saw. BJ survived. Tetsuya Ida. I don't know. I just, well, if I'm glad that Juro Izumi survived, I had to be okay that he survived. I mean, who was the other? Miwako. So yeah, everyone survived at the end, and it was a incredible achievement. The story I just did not expect it, but they make it believable. Like once they told us at the end that this was all a simulation, something like a matrix, and they essentially told us like, yeah, this was just in our mind, and nothing really, like nothing truly happened. Like, yes, these events happened for them, they experienced all this hardship, but at the end of the day it was all about getting out of the system. And Juro Izumi and other people like Miyuki Inaba or Tomiki Soragi, they were able to decipher a way to get out of the system. That was everything. That was the plan of Juro Izumi, to give the chance to the kids to get out of the system once they discovered the truth of the world and what was happening. So they got out of there, and yeah, after that they finally saw themselves at least we had this Megumi and Juro moment in the outside, and they're like 20 years old. Their body has been, all of the clones have grown to the final phase that the humanity, or at least the creators of the project R wanted. That was Tamao Kurabe, Yuki, Chihiro Morimura. They achieved their goal. They also left videos explaining what was their purpose, what was they're supposed to do. A lot of information, for that, like training tutorials of how to live as yeah, they got out. They got out of the system, and then we, like 5 years passed after they got out of the simulation, and then they went back. They went back to visit the place after it started to get repaired. Tetsuya Ida was actually helping in repairing. I don't know if they know about that, but he was repairing it. The different sectors that were destroyed, and everyone got back. By the way, the 1.2 million people in the Sector 4 in 1985, they were all AI. That counts Miwako. Oh, what was the other guy? Onishi the Ogre. Like every AI, the bullies, they were all AIs, but they were brought back without any knowledge of what happened. And yeah, after 5 years, we heard some great things, because Ryo's Professor Chihiro was still alive in her little form, and Ryoko and what's the other guy? Renegoro, they were talking about that. Not only, they've been studying all the research that the past humanity have about cloning and nanomachines. They also started to think about bringing every 1.2 million people back to the real world in actual clones and actual bodies, that they were going to create using the same methods that were used for them to be born. So that was a nice touch, because I think it's a great idea, because people like the little Chihiro, she now has more and more in her mind, and I don't think that's fair. I think they should be separate, and that could be a great way to do it. I mean, a lot of these kids have parents, AI parents inside of the system, but they still consider them their fathers and mothers. So that's a great thing, There are a lot of people that deserve to be brought to the real world. After everything that they passed, being reset, going back again, dying, living, like, based on the information that I got, it was like 300 loops. So that is, every loop took 16 years. We're talking like more than 4,000 years they've been in this thing. So I'm really glad that they talk about that, about getting everyone to have their own life in the new world. And then we start to get some really cool moments where, Miwako being reunited with everyone, but she not understanding why they were so. Everyone was crying, like Natsuno, Yori, Tommy. They were all crying because she was alive. Trying to give her everything. Hey, you want to eat this? You want to do this or that? Whatever. You want to go out? Like, they just were happy that she was alive, and I'm glad, because that character had to be protected. She was one of the best characters in the game. So I'm glad, I'm really glad. And not only that, they started to talk about that they have already, after 5 years, some of them already had children. So I think Tommy mentioned she has children with Nenji. Yuri and Eisa Gigahara, there was no mention of them having any children, so it makes sense. It's only past 5 years. So Natsuno, I don't think she was, or maybe she's pregnant or something, but I don't think she still had a child. But Yuki and Shuamiguchi, they actually have one. Konasu, that was the name that they gave it, the child. So, and yeah, I mean, even the cat, you know, Yuro Hisumi was still alive. And he was just playing with everyone, with Megumi and Yuro in his changing forms. Nenji being happy of seeing the bullies, that was another funny moment there. After 5 years they wanted to bully him and he was like, oh please, come, hit me. Give me your best shot because it's been 5 years. Nasuno reunited with BJ, even giving him an opportunity to maybe go outside on the nano machines that they have in their mind. Yeah, overall, everyone had a happy. Tetsuya Ida wanting to go with Miyuki into the command ship, which is still there. You know, she will always be there in the space. Maybe one day she will be giving a body. I don't know. Everything is possible now. So that was the overall ending. You know, like it was very happy ending. I'm really glad because I enjoyed the game. I think they all deserve it. That final battle though. It was amazing. The final battle of this game is just... every mission has always been the destruction. It's always been about, oh, you have to finish in a certain period of time. You have to defeat this boss or something like that. But the last one was survive. The Daimos game that they were talking about in the story. You just had to survive. 5 minutes. You had to survive, and it got worse and worse as time went by in the fight. And they did it so well because they started to shift with the music. Some of the music from the opening music to they maybe change it a bit more epic. So it was really a great ending. And what more? What happened? In terms of the oh yes, so I also showed this on the video of the ending, in which there is a scene that I had to assume it had to be related maybe to Sector 4. That's a new area that appeared at the end of Destruction, and in that it showed us that the probes that humanity sent into space, you know, to find a viable planet to create a new civilization. He actually showed us another version of it in another planet. I don't know how many light years away it was, but it seemed like 50,000 or even more light years away from Earth. So, and they were there struggling. You know, it was Nenji and Nasuno. Like it was like the beginning of the game, but only with them, which makes sense. So essentially, while we only saw this story, there are multiple stories, many other probes that finally got into a planet, created their clones, but they're struggling because when Ryoko did what she did to the system, she did it to everyone. I mean, essentially it's because she did it to the main system of the probe. It was there for everyone. So even if they separated the probes, even when the probes separated to go to other planet, it didn't matter. Every one of them was had the modification in their system, so everyone is having the same problem as the characters in our story had. But I'm glad, you know, it's really cool that it ended with Juro and Chihiro Morimura. They were the last people. That was the last scene of the game. You know, finally reuniting and saying they love each other. And I think it was right for them to be the last people. You know, they started everything when you think about it. And yes, it's fair to say that they were there until the end. They did their best, and yeah, you had to commend them for, you know, they were not saints. They did some bad things, but again, at the end, everything was a simulation. Yeah, I don't know what you can say. Like, I mean, the person that suffered the most was Ryoko, and that was Tetsuya. I don't know what else we could do there. But that is it for the spoilers. there's nothing. So let's talk about the game. I definitely want to talk about this. This game has one of the best stories. I mean, I played Tales of Arise, Nier Automata. It is up there, you know, with those games. I thought Nier Automata was one of the best ones, and I don't know, this game could be up there. The fact that this game, for example, I'm going to compare with Nier Automata. Nier Automata only had 3 characters. The playable character that you use. This game had 13 characters, and those are playable characters. So let me be clear, those are the playable characters only. But there's actually 15 characters that are crucial to the story. And then if you count Miwako, by the way, that character, she may not be like essential to the plot, but she's there, and they gave a lot of time to her, so you can call 16 or even more characters are in the game. That, and to be able to tell the story as cohesive as they possibly could, you know, it is amazing. This game has, like, I love how it's really well organized, you know. I saw other people that played the game, saw their reactions and everything, and some of them, not maybe one or two, and you can see it when you were playing a character. You felt like at a certain point you were like, because if you wanted, you could have played the character to a certain level, percentage of the story, and then you were blocked because you had to have another scene from another character. So you could play the whole part of that character, you know, maybe let's say you can play the 30% of one character, and then you're blocked until you play another character. Or you can do it in piecemeal, which is the way I did it, you know. I went with, let's say one of the characters was Yuro Kurave. I did up to 20%, and then I stopped, and then went to another character, and I tried to go up to 20% too. And I did that with everyone until once everyone was at equal levels of the story, I kept going. I went and repeated the other character again, like I went back to the cycle. And the reason why you could do something like that was because you can see it in the story. Whenever you finish a story, you felt like, maybe I played this character, maybe those stories connect in some way, and they actually do. Like, for example, you started one character's story, and then but you never saw the ending of that story, or the ending of the conversation, and then you play another character based on what you saw in the story, and oh, now you're seeing the ending, or maybe the beginning of that conversation. So it was a really cool thing, you know. At the beginning they were completely separate, but as you kept going and going with the story, once you get to that 40-50%, you start to see the connections little by little. That's really cool. That is as far as the story, you know. Again, 13 characters is really hard, and there's a lot of misdirection in this game. They try to use a lot of movies. I mean, using any time traveling, a lot of movies, science fiction movies, dramas, everything possible. From E.T., Terminator, you will see a lot of the reference in the World of the World. You can see a lot of the reference from in the game. But a lot of them are misdirected. They're meant to force you to another path in your mindset, like, oh, this is what's happening. And yeah, eventually you say, oh, so what I was thinking was not really true. I will say the story is not perfect. Let's be clear. There are some things that were not explained, or some things that were left completely, they were not truly or really well explained. But I mean, how can you truly like be angry with them when they make 13 characters? And not only that, that's another thing. These characters, let's say you don't like one character, it doesn't matter. I think by the end you will care for these characters, and they did this for the 13, 15 characters, and even the support characters, the one that are not even important in the story. You truly eventually care for some of them, so they were really well written in my opinion. So yeah, that's as far as the characters. Okay, the other. So let's see. So the gameplay, yet I have been playing. This was the part. So the way the game was structured was that they had three parts, it was divided in three sessions: remembrance, destruction, and analysis. Analysis was all about the documents, all of the hints that you would get in the story, information, the events, showing you how the order of the events for each character, whether it was individually or together. You get mystery. You got this mystery file. That those are those documents and information from the characters that would be updated as the story continue. And so the other was remembrance, and that was the story. You can choose the characters in whichever order you wanted. Again, at the beginning you didn't have them all, so it was as time went by you started to get all the other characters. You play a small prologue for each character, and then you start their story where you can diverge into multiple paths so that you can get the whole story. The cool thing is that it's really impossible to miss anything. Like, you can miss something in the story because you didn't understand it, but it is there. At the end, the game wants you to get 100% to understand the full story. But then you have the destruction. This is interesting. I thought destruction was just going to be like the fighting, just the combat mechanic, the gameplay aspect of this game was going to be that one. But no, there's also story elements in the game. Story elements from the main story, the one that in remembrance, that if you play like I did, like I was every now and then I would play destruction, you would get a bit more hints of the battle of the story, that you could make more connections there. So essentially what they give you at the end, destruction, is the final battle, and what you're doing in remembrance in the story overall, it's already happened. So the destruction is actually the present of the story. That's the 13 characters are in the final battle of the game, and you're playing through that final battle into multiple waves. And so again, when it comes to the way this is a strategy game, it's like, they give you the character, you put them in the map, they're in the map, and you then give them orders to, with their sentinels, their machines, to fight against the daimos, or the kaiju as they call them here. And yes, believe it or not, this was the thing that I always stopped me from playing this game, because I always saw it and I go like, oh, I don't know, I don't like that thing, because you can see the sentinel. And you cannot see the sentinel. Like, this is not like Pacific Rim, you cannot see it, but you can see. They really do it really well, because when you are in the in the menu of where you choose your characters and everything, and you see the weapons and abilities that each sentinel has, you can see the sentinel, like the schematics of the sentinel. You can, and also when there's an attack, you can see how the attack is going to look. So you didn't need to see the sentinel, because they gave you enough visual reference so that you can imagine what was going to happen. And not only that, the sound was there. When a sentinel was stomping, you can hear it, so you can understand. Okay, he's throwing a punch, he's throwing missiles. And you can see it all through. So they did really well. The music in this game is amazing. It really complements really well in everything, from the story, destruction, everything. So that's a major plus in this game. So yeah, destruction, even though it's not something that I would like to play all this in other games, I definitely did enjoy it. It's very entertaining. And I play it normal, but you can play it on a much harder difficulty. I could recommend that. I think it's very simple. At first it looks very complicated, but they give you a good explanation overall of everything. It becomes much easier as you play the missions. But yeah, you do get more story in those missions. So you have to play it, whether you like it or not. You have to, even to finish the game, you have to. And then analysis, as I mentioned, it was really good because it gave you like I see a lot of people when those that have reaction channels, they try to write some of the details of the game. You didn't need to do that here. Essentially, it was there. So that's a good thing that you have a reference. It's like a little book where you have all the story elements that little by little you would get in the game. So yeah, the game was really well structured. Music, amazing. It's one of the best music I heard in a long time. What other thing I can say that... Oh, the visuals. Oh my god, this game. Some people compare it to a visual novel. I still don't agree with that. They say that it's like a visual novel. Maybe the way the story is structured, yes, but there's no way that this is like a novel, a visual novel, because at least the Japanese visual novel that I've seen, they are just static images. Yeah, they move their mouth every now and then, but that's how I've seen them. Maybe I'm wrong, maybe they're not like that, but that's what I've seen. Like Danganronpa, I believe, is one game like that, right? And that game is just static. I don't care what, even when you do in that game, there's something called the trials or something like that. That is, I've seen videos of it, and that is just static. This is different. This felt alive. Everything was moving, and everything they show was beautiful. I mean, some of the best part are when they actually show you the Sentinels with the art style that they use in the game. I don't know what it's called. It's like a 2D, 3-dimensional every now and then they use, and it was amazing. It looked vibrant, and then destruction, the battles, they also look vibrant. That's why I'm saying, like, the map, there were fights that were very chaotic, and they looked amazing. That's why I was okay, because it was a visual feast that you have in this game. So yeah, as far as it goes to the visuals, amazing story, incredible. The world that was the world building was also great. I mentioned the characters, right? Yeah, the characters were also incredible. The combat was, again, the gameplay aspect of the game was really good. It was not the main focus of the game, but they did a good job to give you something that it was enjoyable. Yeah, I think as far as it goes, I think that's mostly what I can tell you, because everything else is just, I mean, I can keep talking more, but except before, the game wants you to finish 100%. They want you to 100% the story, really, to get the full story and everything. they were looking to tell a story in this game. They wanted to tell a story, and I think they achieve it really well. I said before, there are flaws. You know, again, if I go into flaw, there are some parts of the stories that were left. Even when I was starting to do in the analysis video, trying to understand some things, they left a lot of it. They left some, not a lot. They left some parts that I don't know. We're not completely explaining, but at the end of the day, the story does is you can understand what the story was trying to tell us, and I'm okay with that. What more can I say that? Yeah, because this is a there's all there's all there's also the visuals. You know, when you're playing the story, there's some really weird things like for example, the way the characters tell their story is like a visual novel or something, because I think that's why they're compared with that, because it was not normal, the conversation that they were having. They were talking like they were, for example, there's this thing that they call the thought, what was it, like you would press the triangle to hear the thoughts of your characters. You know, they have, they wanted to think about one character, and they would tell you, oh, this is my best friend, blah blah, and that was in their mind, and that was okay. But even in the game, when they were moving around, even when they was in public, they would just say what they were thinking, and that was not for them, it was for us, with this precision of the story. So they had to do it like that, so it was weird. So maybe maybe that comes from that visual novel aspect that people keep talking about. But then I'd rather have this visual novel, this style of visual novel, if that's the case, than anything else. And yeah, they did a really good job you being able to not get lost in the story, because there are 13 characters, and that is not easy to, like, I made like 70 videos of more than 70 videos of this, and I was able to follow through with the story, like, and I was able to remember. And that's the thing, these are Japanese names, and some people are not accustomed to remembering them. You can remember this like easily. Every character has very distinct personalities, designs. So yeah, they did a really good job. I really don't know what to say more. You know, I talk about the characters, story, visuals. Yeah, I don't know what Vanillaware is definitely, thanks to this game, it's definitely on my radar now. And I heard they're making some other games, so we'll see what they are. I don't think they will be able to get to this level again, but I'll definitely, I played some of the Dragon Crown. That's another game they made. It was really good. I mean, I didn't finish it because, I don't know, it felt like it's a game that, I mean, it is a game to play with friends, so that's not what I wanted to play. But the visuals, it seems that they're experts in this style of game. So hopefully, I mean, so from what I understand, the game did so well, so it was also recently put on Switch, I think. So yeah, I think they have a bright future. Hopefully the next game is also a banger for them. But I'll definitely have them on my, I'm definitely watching their progress to see what's the next game they're going to make. I mean, recently they're just remaking or remastering some of their previous games, which is okay. I think that's a good thing. So we still haven't seen them making another game like this, so we'll see. Yeah, that's it, guys. There's nothing more to say, so let me give you my overall score to the game. I struggle really hard with this one, because personally I would definitely want to give a 10 out of 10 for this game, But I said before, they did left some things in the story, and there were some things that I don't know. I mentioned the combat was great, but it was very simplistic, so it wasn't complicated, and I was okay with that. But so I think the overall score for this game truly has to be a 9 out of 10. A solid 9 out of 10. I could go as high as 9.5, but yes, it's going to be a 9 out of 10. It deserves everything, you know, made as much money as it can. And I saw people giving this game as low as 7 out of 10. If you maybe didn't like the way they explained the story, but I think that's unfair, and quite frankly, the most I can see someone give this game is an 8. Really an 8. 7, I can see it, but I think it would be unfair. So if someone give it a 10 out of 10, I said I feel like it's a 10 out of 10, but there's also some things that I just can't. They were not explained that I wanted them to be explained. So at the end I was okay because the story is so. This game is really long, you know. And with other games I would be like bored, but this game was able to keep up the story. Like I never felt bored. Like never felt stuck or anything. Like it truly like. Yeah, they did a really good job, so it's a 10 out of 10 for me. Oh, sorry, a 9 out of 10. So yeah, I'll definitely be looking for the next game that they make. I know they're not going to be the same, but hopefully they do something similar in terms of the way the story, the way they do it, the multiple characters, different paths, and that kind of thing to get the full story. This game has a lot of replayability because even if you get the full story, I think you will want to know more of the story. I'm not going to play it again because I want maybe a few years to pass and then I'll play it again. So I can forget some of the things of the story. But yet the story is memorable, amazing, and that's all, guys. Amazing journey. I'm glad that I finished the game. And also I'm going to be sad because I want a game like this, and I don't think I will be able to find it unless it's from Vanillaware. So yeah, that is all for the moment, guys. As always, don't forget you're new to the channel to subscribe, hit the like button if you enjoyed this video, leave a comment, and yeah, don't forget to hit that notification bell. So that is all for the moment. This is EC the Gamer signing off, and I will see you on the next video.